Hey everybody, it's me, Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. I wanted to tell you about some shenanigans that are going on for me personally now with this election. I got an email last night, just after the close of business, Monday, November 4th, notifying me that my ballot, my absentee ballot, is being challenged in Pennsylvania in Lehigh County. Now, there's nothing wrong with my registration. I properly registered to vote. I've followed all the rules and everything. So ultimately, I should be able to win the challenge, but it's absolutely ridiculous, shall I say cowardly, to challenge a voter's registration literally the day before the election. Now I have to attend some kind of a hearing on November 8th. So let me show you what I received, and you can react to it in the comments. And for God's sakes, please go out and vote. So here's what I received. Notice to challenged absentee applicants from my county election office. Timothy Benyo, I think his name is. It's cut off here. It says, "Dear voter, please see the attached sample of challenges to absentee ballot applications which were filed on Friday, November 1st. And if I've got my information correct, mere minutes before the close of business on November 1st, they filed this. Your application is one that has been challenged. A hearing will be held on November 8th, Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to adjudicate these challenges." And wait till you see this challenge. I'm trying to figure out how there's any kind of basis for this challenge. So as you may or may not know, what's behind me is the Moselle River and wine country of Luxembourg, which is where I live. I still have a property in Pennsylvania. I've never lived anywhere else in the States. So I'm following the proper absentee ballot procedures. I filled out my ballot properly. I dropped it at the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy has a diplomatic pouch that they send to the U.S. It gets put into the U.S. postal mail. And then my ballot was confirmed to be received by both the online status thing, and then the election office even confirmed the receipt and processing of my ballot. Now, as far as I know, my ballot is still kept separate until all of these challenges are resolved, which means my vote won't be counted on election day, night, today, November 5th. So I'm, as livid as could be that I now have to spend time responding to this and proving that I've properly registered and properly voted absentee. So there's a federal statute. I'm seeing some of these for the first time. I don't practice election law. But basically, this 52 U.S. Code 20302, each state shall permit overseas voters to use absentee registration procedures and vote by absentee ballot in general, special, primary, and runoff elections for federal office, which is all that I've done. I've only voted for the president, the U.S. president, U.S. Senate, and U.S. Congress. I have not voted for any local Pennsylvania offices. Those lines weren't even on my ballot. Here's a redacted copy of my voter registration and absentee ballot request with my name on it, my Allentown address, my overseas address, my email address, signed and dated August 7th. There's no way that this form that says voter registration and absentee ballot request is not a voter registration and absentee ballot request. I got my ballot. I sent my ballot in through the diplomatic pouch, like I said, so there's no reason why this challenge should be valid. I'm not even sure how they would have standing, what due diligence, what evidence they have gathered that would justify such a challenge. So here's the challenge that they made. Dear Lehigh County Board of Elections, I'm submitting this challenge to an absentee ballot application pursuant to the statute below, which says that any person challenging an application has to pay $10. It doesn't say anything about what the standard is or anything like that, just you must pay $10 per challenge. And it says, upon information and belief, the applicant named above indicated on their ballot that they are currently and indefinitely out of the country and are not a member of the military. The applicant is not registered to vote and therefore is not eligible to vote in Pennsylvania. That's not only false, I would consider that defamatory to accuse me of voting illegally when I have very clearly followed the procedure to the letter and been confirmed by my county elections board. Under Pennsylvania law, it is a felony to permit any person to vote who is not registered. So now I've been threatened with prosecution for properly voting in Pennsylvania. And I fully consider this to be some kind of voter intimidation or voter disenfranchisement, if I can say the word correctly. So then it goes over the election law, emphasizing that any judge or inspector who permits a person to vote illegally shall be guilty of a felony of the third degree, pay a fine of $15,000 and imprisonment of not more than 7 years or both. So then they say, nevertheless, the Department of State mail ballot file indicates the applicant was approved to receive a mail ballot. Of course I was, because I'm properly registered to vote. Along with this challenge, I'm submitting the $10, and this is submitted by Senator Jarrett Coleman of Allentown. So then to protect my vote, I have to attend a hearing on November 8th. There are 519 challenges that are going to be heard on this November 8th hearing, and somehow I'm supposed to meaningfully defend myself in a hearing with 519 other challengees. I'm the challengee. So how is that any sort of due process? How is that any sort of meaningful adjudication of my rights? I am considering what my responses can be. I might file a federal Civil Rights, Voting Rights Act lawsuit in federal district court, where I am admitted in Pennsylvania, so that should be no problem. I've filed and won temporary restraining orders before, so maybe I ask for a temporary restraining order or some expedient adjudication of this matter. Not sure what my response will be. Probably going to end up calling every elections hotline and elections lawyer that I can find and figure out what to do. It's really important that you go and vote today. This sort of undemocratic, probably unconstitutional challenge to my vote is extremely distracting and stressful and intimidating. I find it to be, if I was a person of less fortitude, I might simply throw my hands up in the air, not attend the hearing, and lose my vote. Imagine some portion of those 519 people, just in my county alone, there are thousands in other counties as well, who all now have to attend hearings, and they might be working, they might be sick, they might be indisposed, they might have other obligations that prevent them from attending the hearing, and then their vote is gone. And that means the challengers win without having done their own due diligence, without having provided any evidence. Nobody has said what the challenge is to me, that I didn't have the right address or I moved out of state first or something. There's lots of reasons why a challenge would be valid, but nobody did their homework to find out if the challenge is valid as to me. Hence why I think I do have a Voter Rights Act or Civil Rights Act or some kind of claim for the attempted, frankly, the successful voter intimidation. I'm definitely intimidated by it. I'm a copyright attorney who wants to practice copyright law, not, wants to spend my whole life trying to defend this procedure that I properly use to vote. For gosh sakes, please go out and vote.